The Game Boy Advance, my favourite game console of all time, space and other relative dimensions. The most advanced Game Boy to have ever been advanced by the advancement of advanced civilization. But sadly, after over 20 years of existence, it's starting to look slightly less advanced now. It's time for an upgrade or two. As you can plainly not see here, the gameplay. It is very hard to make out. The screen is just too dark. But we can upgrade it to a far bigger and clearer screen by taking this, our SNES, and plugging it into one of these bad boys, the Super Game Boy. Now we can play our old Game Boy games on a TV screen. With the Super Game Boy we can now play them in colour. Some cartridges even have additional extras and allow for full colour or fancy borders to enhance our Game Boy games. You can even customise the colour palette and take screenshots and draw on them for some reason. But of course, we have the rather obvious flaw that our gaming system is no longer portable. To get around this, we'll simply go back to using our Game Boy Advance, only now it's time for an upgrade once more with this thing, the Blaze TV Tuner. In order to make this work, we simply plug in the TV tuner to our Game Boy Advance, and the TV tuner can be plugged into the wall, or to maintain portability, just add 4 AA batteries. That is on top of the 2 for the Game Boy Advance, making it 6 in total. In addition to that, you will also have to plug in a game into the TV tuner, otherwise it won't work. Best just to sacrifice some worthless rubbish that nobody cares about anyway, and just keep it in there. Now we can still enjoy a kind of portable gaming experience with all the cool additional features that the Super Game Boy gives us. Unfortunately, we now have the same old issue of the screen being too dark. So for our next upgrade, let's take this boy apart and give it a shiny new backlit screen. This will make everything look a lot clearer, but at the cost of slightly lowering battery life. Now we can actually see what we're playing, which is a huge improvement. Of course the screen is so small and bright that I can't really show it well using this camera to record the footage, but in person, believe me, it does look a lot better now that it has a backlight. Sadly, however, we come to another flaw. The Super Game Boy was created before the Game Boy Advance even existed, and Nintendo stupidly overlooked designing it to work for their future hardware, so unfortunately we're going to have to upgrade once more. With this GameCube and this Game Boy player attached to the bottom of the GameCube, we will now be able to play our Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games once more, but at the cost of losing the extra features of the Super Game Boy, as the Game Boy player for some reason lacked a lot of the fun stuff that the Super Game Boy had. Of course, you will also have to have the Game Boy player startup disc running, otherwise the GameCube will not register the Game Boy player without it. Then we'll plug in a GameCube controller. This one I have here comes in my favourite colour, turquoise, or teal if you want to be pretentiously technical about it. Then all we need to do is connect the GameCube to our Game Boy Advance TV tuner for the ultimate Game Boy Advance experience. Or at least it would be the ultimate Game Boy Advance experience if it wasn't for the fact that playing with a GameCube controller kind of feels a bit weird. So it's time for another upgrade. By using this GameCube Game Boy Advance link cable, we can then get our other Game Boy Advance and use it as a controller. Now we can play Game Boy Advance games on our Game Boy Advance player, using our Game Boy Advance as our TV, while using the other Game Boy Advance as a controller for the ultimate Game Boy Advance experience. Now that I have fully upgraded my Game Boy Advance and made it the most advanced Game Boy Advance to have ever been advanced by advanced technology, I feel like I'm really playing with power now. My little Game Boy Advance has advanced to Game Boy godhood now. Game Boys can't get any more advanced than this. Oh yes, just look at its magnificence. My name is Swifto. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair.